Hi, I'm Greg Schaefer. Welcome to the virtual CISO moment in a different location. Whole bunch of interesting news with regards to that. I'm changing offices and having a little bit of technical problems this morning in the recording, but I think we got it almost resolved except for the camera. So I apologize for the lower quality. This is from a laptop camera. Jason Jauch joins us today. He is a virtual CISO that helps healthcare practices in New Jersey with compliance and security issues and all that fun stuff. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Greg, for having me.
So would love to start as we usually do, as I try to get back into my element here. It's just weird being from a different location and having all the technical issues that have gone on. To center myself and ask you the standard question. I'd love to hear about all the guest stories, why and how you got into information security, and just take us through your journey to where you're at today.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I've always had a love for security in general. And as I got into the technology field when I was younger, I got my first computer in like 1988, I think it was. Really just started enjoying that aspect of the technology. And then as I started moving forward, about 25 years ago or so, I got a job working at a technology company that provided software solutions for medical practices. And during that time, I was doing a lot of engineering work. I was in the field installing firewalls, installing antivirus, installing computer servers, et cetera. And in that time, I found that there was some issues with that. Meaning, meaning like what would happen is I would go out and then they would drop a server in. And then they drop a server in and then we go install it and then we're done. But there was never any like communication with the customers or the doctors that was saying that, hey, you guys have to actually manage this. We're not managing this for you. And over the years, I was seeing a lot of frustration and a lot of just pointing fingers and back and forth and security gaps. And then breaches started happening. There'd be a ransomware attack or there'd be just some misaligned IT setups that just caused problems for the doctors. So after about 10 years of that, I kind of got fed up and I was frustrated for the doctors because I saw the pain they were going through. And I decided to start my own company 15 years ago that was to help solve that problem by giving them the security and the IT that they need without having to worry about understanding what the vendor's trying to say, without having to talk to a million different people. They just contacted us. We handle both sides of it. But during that journey, I wanted to keep up in my game because, we all know that this is an iterative process. We don't stop learning. So as I continued on my path, I ended up getting more into security, started taking more security courses, went into get my CISSP about 5 years ago. And after I had achieved that, I ended up getting some coaching from Dr. Cole. He's been my coach for about 2 years now, and he's hands down changed my game when it comes to being a CISO. And here I am now. And I love what I do, and it's super exciting, but it's definitely been a challenge, and we love helping our customers.
So let's talk a little bit about the virtual CISO environment working in healthcare. Obviously, healthcare is one of the more regulated industries out there. I float from the other one, and that's finance, because I was a CISO for a bank for a while, and I've done a virtual CISO for a while. Do you feel that the fact that it is such a highly compliant, focused industry, that helps security, or that hampers, or maybe a mixture of both?
That's a good question, Greg. I feel like in my experience, it's more on the hampering side, because I've seen in several instances where these highly regulated companies, healthcare, also government, I've worked with a little bit, that they know that they have to do something. So what they end up doing is they'll contact an MSSP and they'll have them give them compliance. The problem with that is there's no actual leadership in the organization to actually manage that compliance structure. So they end up just dropping compliance on their heads, blanketing it on top of the entire organization. And it's ultimately not working as intended, because I mean, compliance doesn't equal security, but security done right equals compliance. So I feel like it's just a backward way of doing things. And that's a problem I've seen a lot, is where there's no guidance when they think. So they have if they're lucky, being in the small, medium sized like medical practices, if they're lucky, they even have an IT person, and almost none of them have a cybersecurity program at all. So when they do try to get this compliance, they're just told by the vendor, "Hey, you guys need to do this," and then they do that. They do, yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, and if you try to just build a program to reach compliance, you're going to end up with some gaps, right? Because to your point, compliance doesn't necessarily mean you're secure or equal security, but if you are secure, then you should reach compliance. I think that's what you said, right?
Yes.
So like, what I find this path of questioning interesting, because we always in our field, we always say compliance doesn't equal security, but we rarely start to kind of dig into it a little bit as to the whys for that. Why do we say that? And so I'm curious, what kind of gaps do you see with those organizations' security program today that are following more of the mindset of like building a program based on compliance and not just security, or not solely, not based on security?
So, I mean, the gap that I see is clarity and the lack of again, back to the leadership, because when they're trying to get compliant and they're told they need to get a firewall, they need to get a SIM, and they need to get managed detection and response, whatever it is, they're just throw it into the environment, and it could be not even properly configured. They might not have everything that they need, and they typically over tech, and that happens a lot. I see that because I've been in a lot of places, they just get over tech. Like, you have to get this. That's not necessarily true. You know,
yeah,
what I mean?
I hate that idea of like a provider saying you must get this tool, you must get this tool, you must get this tool, without even explaining why. What risk are we trying to mitigate here, and can we do it another way?
100%. I mean, and that's the thing, and that's what we do is I try to help these practices by say, hey, before you start getting this vendor into, let's see what you're trying to do. Let's try to fix the problem. What are your risks that we need to address? Like, what is it that you feel you need to do? Now, I kind of start without even the compliance piece. I start with what's their risk posture? That's the first thing I really talk about with them. And then what is the business that they're really in? Because a lot of them are doctors and they provide patient healthcare. They do surgeries, they do general practice, but that's not necessarily the business that they're in. Like, I can give you an example. There's the hospital out in the Midwest that they're a big hospital, and there's a bunch of hospitals around them, but everybody wants to go to that hospital because that hospital has the fastest in and out for a patient to see a doctor. It's like in and out in 15, 20 minutes. If you have an appointment, you're in at 10:30, you go in at 10:30, you're out by 10:45. So cybersecurity has to be aligned to not only meet compliance and to be secure, but it can't hinder the business at all. So they have to make sure that they're moving quickly. So you have to get creative. So what might work for the average healthcare company or average hospital is not going to work for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I like the fact that one of the things that you mentioned is approaching these engagements with a risk perspective first, because really that's all we're trying to do, right? We're trying to minimize risk. But I'm wondering, you talked a little bit about what led you to found C Squared. I'm pronouncing it right. It's not C2,
yeah,
right?
C Squared. That's correct.
Okay,
yeah.
Because ISC used to be ISC squared, and then they changed it to C2 or
I know when I
ISC2.
saw that, when I got my CISSP, I was like, oh man, that's a little confusing.
I mean, for 20 years, I've been referring to it one way, and then suddenly it's just like an instructor I had for my master's in college. It's like he would get on my case for putting two spaces after a period. And I said, I'm never going to change that. I understand why you're saying I'm supposed to change that because of word processing and all that, as opposed to typewriters. But It's like, I've been doing this for like, what, 40, 50 years. It's like, I'm not going to change. Well, guess what? I ended up changing. So, but
Nice.
so that's one of the things I know you guys do differently at C Squared. But what are some of the other approaches that differentiate you guys from other information security advisory firms?
Well, I would say for us, because not only is it we go from a risk perspective, we provide the small and medium-sized business a holistic cybersecurity approach. So it's a single vendor solution that they don't need to have to, they can communicate with just us. There's no finger pointing. It eliminates security gaps, because you can't, there's no finger point. IT says, well, security didn't give us this, and security's not saying, well, IT is supposed to implement this. There's none of that, because we're doing all of that. And it saves them a ton of money, because as a single vendor solution, they not only get everything that they're going to need for one price, but there's no actual hidden fees, and there's no I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the word here, but there's no
cost, no obligation, no.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
this train of thought. I get so excited about this, my mind goes all over the place. But ultimately, we give them everything they need, and it just makes it easy for them. And our customers, we've had them for years, because they love the fact that we're doing all of that for them. They don't have to deal with the vendors. They don't have to deal with another outside vendor for security. They're getting everything that they need. One person, one company, and that's it.
Well, and really, our product and what we do in this industry, when all is said and done, we sell consulting, and we sell some sell products and all that as well too. But that's not really our root product. Our root product is trust, and it is important to take the approach of like a one-stop shop, if you will, because at least I'm imagining this. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but this reduces the burden on the clients for having to not only go out and try to find a solution for this, that, and the other, but really trying to build that trust as well too. Because again, if you have like managed security service provider firm A that says you've got to buy a SIM, and without explaining why and without explaining the risk, unless they've established like the trust, which I can't see if they're saying that you have to buy something without explaining necessarily the reasons beyond the basic ones of like monitoring and all that, then I don't. That's a comfort level that I found, at least working with clients. It's just like the first thing that they're really looking for is like, I've got a problem. I don't really understand it, and I don't really want to understand it. I want someone to help me understand it, and then to help me solve it. Do you see that as an advantage, as being a one-stop shop?
I do, but I generally say if they have that actual concern, then I always say that we should come in with, let's just do an assessment, because the assessment is going to show you your security gaps and things that you may or may not need. And then from there, we can engage trust with them, because we don't push products. I don't go in there saying we have to give you this, this, and this. We say like, hey, let's just have an assessment, see what's going on here. And if you choose you want to use us, we can do all of this, but you don't have to choose that. So, and another thing that I want to bring up is that what we do is we're not here for profit, right? I'm a profitable company, but I'm not here to like just pad my profits. Like when we come in, we want to cater to the budget of the business, because after all, what is a CISO, right? A chief officer first. So we're about the business, where we care about the business, the budget, and giving you things that you need without breaking the bank, okay, and having a positive ROI. So if we focus on that, and we just we come in and say, okay, listen, you're going to need a SIM because you have PHI on-prem, and like, well, we don't have a lot of money for that. Okay, well, let's talk about that, because then we can get creative with it. And that's where we come in. Like, you don't have to just drop, let's say you have 50 users in your organization, and the SIM's going to cost you like, I don't know, $20,000 a year. We can be creative with it, still keep you compliant, and knock that cost down 70, 80% without having to, because you don't have to sim everything. Because with compliance, especially even PCI, as long as you're making what needs to be compliant, that's all that matters. You don't have to do
Right.
everything. Yeah.
And that's certainly one of the things that I think we've seen as well too, that companies struggle with regards to like bringing in a virtual CISO is like they're budget conscious to begin with. If they weren't budget conscious, they wouldn't be going for a virtual CISO. They just hire someone full time in house. That's the whole point of the fractional realm. But I would imagine that you've encountered some other struggles with companies when bringing in folks from the outside to help build their security program. What other struggles have you seen?
Well, one comes to mind right away. It's actually not a healthcare one, but there's a company that I'm aware of that I've spoken with, and they have the struggle that I see is when it's the trust piece, right? They got to get the trust, but the problem is when you're bringing in outside consulting. I think a lot of the small businesses are afraid of it's going to be high cost, and they're afraid of what they always hear about, because a lot of us are all technologists, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of CISOs that come in can be very techie, and that techie is it just gets them nervous and confused, and they don't know what to do, and they feel like they're just going to.
Yeah, they get the deer in the headlights look. They're like,
yeah,
exactly. You know that they're not grokking what it is that you're, and I don't mean grok as in grok like the X like AI thing. Grok is it's been around since a long time. It means they don't understand. So
right. Yeah, they don't understand, right? And that's where I feel like they almost don't want to bring it in because of that. I've seen that happen, and it's an issue, because I think everyone should get some kind of advisory at this point. I mean, we're at the point, 2025. Cyber attacks are just rising. I mean, look at last year. Healthcare had multiple major issues, and which now got the government to up the ante on HIPAA compliance, and now they're making it completely different in 2026. So it's getting important, but I feel like a lot of it has to do with, like, back to what we said before about the budget. There's a piece where we might have to start, us as CISOs really caring about the community and caring about protecting these small businesses. We might have to stop with the whole, 10,000 a month thing. If the customer is 25 users, that's not going to happen. It's not going to work. You got to bring it down to a point where it makes them feel comfortable. Come in, show them, build trust with them first, and then you can talk about other stuff.
So what are a couple, since you brought it up, what are a couple of them, what's like the major change that's coming up in 2026 with HIPAA?
Oh, the biggest one is HIPAA is becoming prescriptive with their security, the security rule. So before it was very kind of vague. There was options that were addressable and required. That's going away. There's going to be just all required, which is unfortunate, because I was afraid that was going to happen, and now it's going to happen, which means you might not need certain things, but if you are any practice that has PHI, it doesn't matter if you're a one doctor office or if you're got 20 doctors, you have to do all of this now. It requires complete asset inventory with a data workflow diagram. You have to have vulnerability scanning twice a year. There's going to be specific requirements for risk assessment at this point. And I'm actually thinking that since it's not done yet, they might actually have a way of like having some kind of online portal where they might say, did you complete this task? Because before you could do a self-assessment. Right. I don't believe they're able to do that anymore. They're not going to let that happen anymore.
So is this going to affect the high trust CSF as well too? Is that going to alter to match some of the changes in HIPAA?
I think it's going to alter a lot of stuff. I mean, what's going to happen? It's going to happen February. I think it's February 16th. It's coming. It's going live.
Okay.
And if you're not ready for it, I think it's going to affect costs. I mean, people who are using third-party cloud vendors, believing that they're saving money using that as for their practice management and their clinical, those prices are probably going to go up, and the cost for the the practice itself is going to go up, because now they're going to have to start doing things that they didn't necessarily have to do before, which is why it's more important than ever that they actually get advisory or someone to come in and say, hey, look, this is coming up. You have to do this, but let's see if we can help you do it without actually increasing your cost too much, or if at all. I mean, because unfortunately, that's what's happening.
Yeah, and it seems like that there, as you noted before, that there's going to be there's a growing need for these types of advisory services because of the changes in it's not just healthcare, it's all regulatory stuff out there, and then of course we've got now the AI stuff in the mix. I'm under contract to say AI at least once in every podcast episode. So now I've said it.
It's a buzzword these days. Yep.
you got to do
you gotta
it.
Say it. You got to talk about it. Yep.
So you might have a lot of people out there who are like, wow, it's just like, this cybersecurity, information security consulting stuff looks really, really cool. But I think I want to get into it, but I have no idea where to start. This is kind of something that's near and dear to me. I get that question an awful lot. I put out a few videos on my thoughts on it, but I don't think my thoughts are complete, and sometimes maybe not all correct, and always looking to hear other points of view. What would be some of the advice that you would give to professionals that want to make the leap to either consulting or even taking that the step further, which is a lot harder than it seems, and that is like forming your own business?
So I would say if you wanted to take that step and you want to become an entrepreneur and you want to actually genuinely help businesses, my personal opinion from my experience is to pick a business vertical you're comfortable in and start with that. Also start reading a couple books. Like, you're going to want to get a little bit more business sense, because I mean, a lot of us are great with technology. We're all experts, but when it comes to business, it might be a little tough, and you're going to have to be able to talk to these business owners in a language that they're going to understand. So I would say a couple books, come to mind, Road Less Stupid. Keith Cunningham's a great business book. Another one I read, Business Made Simple by Donald Miller. That's a nice little book. Very easy to understand, helps you get your feet wet with that. But definitely find your business vertical, come up with maybe like a little note or something like that, maybe a little postcard, talk about yourself a little bit, how you can help them. And you might just go door to door, walk in and say, hey, this is what I do. I think I could be of value to your company. Here's a little bit of information about myself. And if you'd like to continue discussion further, let's, meet sometime. And that's it. Something like that. Just keep it simple. Yeah.
Because such a large percentage of what we do is not client work. It's work to get clients. Mm-hmm. And I think some people, at least I'll say that this was with me when I just actually put out a post today on LinkedIn. Well, I put it out because we record this on Friday and drop Tuesdays. I put this out last Friday, to everybody who's watching it, because this past Monday, which would be the 28th of July, is the 8-year anniversary of forming vCISO Services. And I look back on that, and I remember back in the beginning, my attitude and my approach to a lot of stuff was completely different. I thought that as soon as I announced to the world, it's like, hey, I'm doing this, I get people flocking to me. And no, nobody cares. It's
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yeah. It's like, nobody cares that you put your shingle out there. It's not as if there's this big news alert. I even did a PR campaign and did a press release and this and that. And it's like, you gotta grind at it for sure. Would you not agree?
You gotta grind it. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I have discussion with my team sometimes about that. And it's a lighthearted thing, but instead of us talking about that, we have to figure out how we can communicate the need, because there is a lack of understanding. And I'd like to mention that with the small businesses, I think that there's that self-deception that happens. They start believing all these big companies are getting hacked. It's not going to happen to me. I don't need to do this stuff.
Oh, sure. But, yeah.
But and we get overlooked, because it's a cybersecurity thing. What is the numbers? I think it's small businesses have about maybe 8% of them have a cybersecurity budget. It's very small.
Yeah, and is it really dedicated, or is it just like it's just they just chop it as part of like IT, but are they really looking at it from a risk perspective? Most probably not. It's
No, they're not.
because I mean SMBs, I mean they've got challenges with regards to margins and cash flow and revenue and all trying to meet targets. And we do as entrepreneurs with our small businesses, we have that challenge as well too, and that can be rather stressful. And then you put that stress on top of everything that we have to do as security practitioners in our industry, and um, there's a lot of stress that even if you're not a business owner, I mean, just being in this field, I think that there's like a certain commonality that it seems like a lot of folks in this field are like type A-ish, where they see a task, they want to make sure you get it done right, and unfortunately, this is a field where you never are completed, and so I think we have a lot of stress, and I think that a lot of folks in the field don't handle the stress well. They try to suck it up, or they turn to maybe not so healthy and alternatives, which is what I've done in the past. So I always try to encourage folks to go out and first of all, take time to decompress and find something that really gets you away from the grinds of information security. So what's one of the things you do, Jason, to keep yourself sane and healthy?
Oh boy. Well, for me, I mean, that's health and fitness. I've been into that for 35 plus years. I've been a runner. I've been a weightlifter. I've done bodybuilding. I'm an advanced master's athlete in CrossFit now.
Wow.
I mean, it's actually, me and my team, we just did a local New Jersey event called the Asbury Park Summer Games. And we took first place in Masters 45 plus.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have never, CrossFit was one of the things that I kind of like have been amazed with from afar. I've never, I've come close a few times. I think I got interested in the concept of it a little bit too late in life. And now I'm afraid that, if I tried to do some of that stuff, I'd snap it too.
Yeah, you're probably more malleable than you think. Yeah, no, it's for anyone could do it as long as you just go at your own pace. You don't have to go crazy. You just, you move at your own pace. We have members of my gym that I go to from ages from 18 all the way to like 75, 80. So there's.
Oh, okay. So I still fit in there. So I can actually maybe start.
Yeah, you can definitely try it out.
Okay. Yep. So tell me about your future plans, either for you or for C Squared or both.
Oh, future plan. I mean, I'm always right now. I kind of focused on certain goals. So one thing that I'm focusing on this year on the health side or fitness side is to improve my Olympic weightlifting, because that's fun. So I'm still a novice at that, but I do enjoy that and I want to get better at that. So I've gotten a coach for that. And for C Squared, so what we're doing is we're kind of getting a little niche. We're still focused on the healthcare. We're still focused on New Jersey, but we're really we're dialing it more in. We're focusing on more the eye centers, because ophthalmology, we found, has a very unique problem that needs to be solved. Because so let's say like a different kind of doctor's practice, like a general practitioner. I think urology is one of them. If they use like a third-party cloud vendor for their EHR, they get most of the security done on the EHR side, hopefully. And then they still have their things they got to do locally, but most of their PHI, if all of it is in the cloud. With the ophthalmology clients that we found, they have these medical instruments that store a lot of PHI images locally, even if they are working in the cloud. So
yeah, I mean, just you put your eyes up against the thing and you have like the image of like all your retinas, and they use that for identification, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and it's all there, sitting on drives. It's all over the network. So we're really the future for the next 6 to 12 months is to really kind of focus in on them, and that's where we're actually trying to start knocking on doors, like I mentioned earlier. Where I'm just going to go around and say, hey, this is what we do. We've been doing this for 15 years, and we can help you out.
Well, I think that's a great vision. Yeah. See what I did there?
Yeah, I like that. That was pretty good. That's great.
Jason, thank you so much for joining me this morning and for riding the waves of the technology issues that I've been having, not you. But I appreciate your patience and your grace and all that you do to help with security in the community.
Thanks so much, Greg. I really enjoyed the conversation.
And everybody, stay secure.